Hello my crafty friends, it's Beverly here over at Crafting Chaos. I'm sorry I've not been with you for a while, but I am still recovering from my surgery. But I've just come up to my craft room and I thought I was going to make a little card for a little boy whose birthday is coming up. And I wanted to do a sort of underwater scene, but I wanted to do it as though you were looking at the scene through a porthole. Now obviously to do this, I wanted some sort of a shape that looked like a porthole, and I thought about doing it with dies, and I just thought it's so much easier to do it on my scan and cut, so I thought I'd show you the process of how to create the file. So what I'm aiming to show you today is how to create this porthole effect using basic shapes within the scan and cut. Incidentally, I'm using the Brother Scan and Cut Canvas workspace for the downloadable version that is available for use on your laptop, computers, Macs, etc. Also, remember you can download the app to tablets like iPad and other tablets, and you can even access it on your phone. I'm not sure if you can access this app on the phone, but you can certainly access the online app on your phone, and there is a video on my channel showing you how to use the app on an iPhone. So let's get started with this project. Remember, as always, this file will be available over on my blog at beverly10.blogspot, and it's there for you to download free of charge. Incidentally, there are lots of files over on my blog now that are freely available to people that wish to download them. All I ask is that you do download them and you don't sell them on as your own or bundle them together, because obviously I'm taking time out to make these files, and I'm happy to share them freely, and I wouldn't want people being charged for something that they can get for free. Now, I'm thinking about at some point maybe putting a little tip jar on my webpage when I can figure out how to do it, because I have had a few people ask me would I sell files, etc., and it's not my intention to sell. I have a full-time job that I enjoy doing, but I might leave a tip box where I can use for purchasing my new supplies, and also cards that I actually make as commissions for people. I actually donate the profit from them to cancer research charities, particularly breast cancer care, because many people that know me know my sister died at 45 with breast cancer, so I try to do a little bit to try and help them wherever I can. And if I make a commission card, I take the cost of the materials that I use to make the project, and then donate the rest to charity. So obviously that's something that I would like to do in the future, but you're under no obligation whatsoever. I don't want anyone feeling that they need to tip or anything like that, because that's just not what it's there for. It's just for the people that feel they want to do something, so that's fine. And if you don't, that's also fine. So anyway, getting on with this project now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a circle from the basic shape. So just coming on to the shapes, selecting a circle, and then I'm going to turn off that menu so that I've got a little bit more room on my workspace. Now I wanted my circle to be quite big because I want to be able to do it on a big card, but remember, once you've made it you can resize. The only thing I'd advise is being careful about the size, that if you resize it any smaller, on the size that I actually make it at, which was 5 inches, I took the smaller circles for the porthole rivets, if you will, or that meant to represent the rivets, to be 0.25 inches, which is about the limit that I would go for a circle on the scan and cut cutting, different for drawing. Now that's entirely your choice, but remember, if you do it to 5 and you do it at 0.25 and shrink it less than that, it will make these little circles smaller, which may put pressure on your blade. So I just want to put that out there now, just in case. I don't want people damaging the blade by cutting a file that I've created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to resize this first circle to 5 inches. So I've just come on to the edit menu, which is the second icon down, and then I'm going to change I've got the maintain the aspect ratio checked because I do want it to remain a perfect circle. I'm going to make it 5 inches, and I'm going to have that as my base shape. Then I want to create an offset, and I want it to be about ½ an inch, 0.525. I want it to go inwards, I want it rounded, leave the original shape where it is, and that's everything covered in there. So that's where we're up to now. Now before we do anything else, I'm just going to make a duplicate of that shape, the middle one, doesn't really matter which one, just as long as you've got a circle. Then I'm going to select both of these shapes and I'm going to process the overlap and subtract. And that's effectively punched out the middle of that shape. So if we look at that, if we go back a step, move that out of the way. If we try to just put colour in now, you can see it's colouring everything. And that's going to mean if you leave that step out where you're going to punch it out, so selecting everything and going on the process, the overlap and subtract, when you try to actually take out these little circles from the perimeter, you're going to hit a problem because it's not going to be able to do that, because it's going to be won't recognise it off open paths because you've got a shape within a shape. This way now you've only got that one path, which is one shape. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to reduce the size of that circle to 0.25 inches and say okay, so that's made as a tiny circle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it. I'm just going to zoom in a little so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. So I'm going to select the small circle and I'm going to move it into position roughly. I'm just going to send that shape to the back so we can see the circle. So there we have it. And if we flood it with colour, that might make it a bit easier to see. So if we make it like a pale grey, that'll make it easier to see where it is. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate it. Now, all I'm doing is roughly getting it at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. One at 12 and one at 6-ish. And then I'm going to select the two shapes, so the two little circles, by holding the shift key down, and then I'm going to line them up on the centre axes there. So now that one's exactly on top of the other. So I'm just going to select them again, and this time now I'm going to layer and I'm going to group. So that's now grouped though, so now I need to select the porthole, if you will, and the circles, and again centre to the middle. So now that's put that and that at 12 and 6 o'clock if you think about it on a clock face. So now I need to make some duplicates, so I need 6 in total, so I've already got one, so I need 2, that's making 2 for 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I'm going to select everything and line everything up to the centre and the middle. So now we've got what is effectively a stack of these circles on top of this outer ring, if you will. So all we need to do now is do a little bit of finagling with rotation. So if we're going to be going round effectively making 12 dots, we know this, well, the circle altogether has a perimeter of 360 degrees. So if we divide 360 by 12, that will give us 30. So I know my increments need to go up in 30s. So I'll just do 30 and that'll rotate that one. Then click off onto the centre one. This time now, so 30 add 30 is 60. Say OK. And then you've guessed it, 30 add 30 add 30 is 90. And then adding another 30 to 90 would be 120. Oops, just help if you're typing when you're in the dialog box. 120, and for a final time, 120 add 30 is 150. So it's a bit of finagling with maths, but once you understand the basic principle, you can see how far you've got to rotate. So then I'm going to select all of those shapes and very simply now subtract, and that's effectively punched out those shapes. So now that will cut the circle ring with the little circles already cut into the shape. Now then, you may want yourself a matting layer for that or not, as the case may be. If you do, all you need to do is bring on a circle. You could have done this at the start, but it doesn't really matter. And again, let's make it 5 inches because we know that circle is 5. So we'll start with 5, like so. And then I'm going to make an offset just to make it bigger, and I want to offset it, and I'll just take it down a little bit, so I want it to be about just over 1/4 of an inch. And we'll say OK, but this time we need to come outwards because we want the circle to be bigger. Say OK, and then we can go on, take the big one, delete the small one, and then we can select both of those shapes, line up central and middle, And now if we make sure that that one is at the back, and we put some colour in it, like for an ocean colour possibly, just to get the idea. So a nice ocean colour blue. There we are. Oh, that's bright. It's doing my eyes in on the screen. So then what you can do is you can put your little fish and your seaweed. This is what I'm intending to do anyway. I'm going to put like some fish and some seaweed and possibly other little bits and things, bubbles, maybe a lobster or something at the bottom. And that's going to be my card. And I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please remember that the file's available over on my blog. Remember to like, share and subscribe. I hope you've enjoyed this. It's a quite simple and straightforward one, making your own die cut shape. And remember, you can always go on to take it a step further. If you wanted that to have a stitched edge or a 4-stitched edge, you select it, go on the edit button, hit the offset button. This time we want to come in. Just incidentally, I've just decided that I want this for my file, so I'm doing it now. Come in to quite that, come in, so nice, offset, make it a dashed line at the top, like so, and also a drawing line. So that's the file complete. I can select those 2, not the 3, I want the 2, yeah, and layer and group them. So now I can move that one away, and it's going to leave that stitched edge in position. And if we take a quick look at the layers and we look at the group, we can see that that one's set to cut and that one's set to draw. So you can toggle it off, that's the cutting line, toggle that one off, that's your drawing line. So we know everything's correct when we send it over to the scan and cut. Now I'm intending to do an 8x8 card, so I'm just going to get rid of that. So I'm just going to delete the one we've just made, and I'm going to select the 2 files, and we'll line them up centrally and vertically. And then I'm just going to resize the whole thing by layering and grouping. And then I'm going to resize them to about 7.5 inches. And now I know that's going to fit lovely on my 8x8 card. But that's how you would actually resize the lot. I wouldn't necessarily resize it smaller, just because of the size of the little circles that you'd be cutting out then, like I explained at the start. So that's my file that I'm going to send across. I'll leave it in this size, so that then if you want to make it smaller, you can do the steps that I showed you to resize. Alright, so just jump back in again there, because I just thought of something else that I wanted to add for my file, so I thought I'd show it you just for the benefit. Alright, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.